This conference will now be recorded.
Mm, hallelujah. All right, so I'm gonna pray us in, and then anybody who wants to follow and closing out uh, the fast and praying, please do so. If not, we'll come from that First Corinthians 1:10, and then we'll go ahead and run it. All right, family, let us pray. Father, Yah, we thank you and we glorify you right now. We are thank you right now for just keeping us throughout this fast. We thank you right now for preserving our hearts. We thank you for you being the Elohim who does not go back on his word, doesn't go back on his vow, who has kept his covenant through generations, which is the reason why we are here. And let us just lift up your holy name. Let us give reverence unto you every single day, just knowing that you are the reason why we are breathing breath right now. You're the reason why we are able to gather. You have passed over us yearly, even looking at our sin. You have given us an opportunity to be washed and to be clean and to be perfected. And we just thank you right now. Even though we are disgusting, we're defiled, our righteousness, according to your word, is as filthy rags, but yet you saw fit to still dress us in new garments. You saw fit to call us out of the wilderness, call us out of darkness when we were walking towards hell right now. And you saw fit to give us true life, give us an understanding of what it is to live, which is to live according to your word. And you have set us on that path, and you have set the perfect example in front of us, our very own King, who's at the right hand of you right now, our mediator, our high priest, Yahushua Hamashiach, who came down here and showed us the example that we should follow, and then shed blood for us so that we may be redeemed and come back into the house to live according to your will once again. Now, not with offerings and sacrifices, but with ourselves being the offering, with us being the sacrifice, having to mortify the deeds of this flesh every single day. And you said that you would give us a comforter to be with us, to help us along the way when things get when the trials get too fiery, when things start ramping up, when the burden feels too tough. We have a comforter within us. We have your ruach, your spirit that you have put within us to give us all understanding of what we should do, to minister, to usher us out of any circumstance that we may find ourselves in. You have gathered your children, and you have uh, uh, put us in your hand, and all we have to do is just follow your word to stay in that position. And I thank you right now. I ask that you would forgive us for our sins, forgive us for our trespasses, forgive us for the things that we think and that we say to our family members, or that we say even within ourselves. Forgive us for the negative talk that is within ourselves, doubting what you can do for us, or what you can bring us through or heal us through. We ask that now you would give us a continued renewed mind, that you would renew it day by day as we seek you, that you would give us a better understanding of what you are doing in our lives, that you would give us what it is, you would give us our purpose in this hour, what we are supposed to do to please you, to fulfill your word, so that others may be blessed. We ask that you would continue to take away that heart of stubbornness and selfishness, that heart of pride, of being stiff-necked, not wanting to follow you, even when we know that that is the right way. We ask for your forgiveness, but your correction to keep us on that path, to keep turning us in the right way, keeping us yoked to Yahushua Hamashiach, the lead ox, the strong ox, who knows the path that we are supposed to go down right now. And so I just pray that you would continue to establish this household, this assembly dedicated saints of Yah in Christ. I pray that you would continue to raise up brothers and sisters who are hungering and thirsting after your word, not seeking anything else, not seeking their own exaltation, not seeking position or any type of authority that you are not willing to give them, but they're only seeking to have what you have for them and to do your will. Raise up those brothers and sisters. Let us be bound together as one. We ask that you would seal up every crack, every crevice, allowing giving no way for Hasatan to come in and to work any chaos, to sow any words of discord right now. We just pray that you would bind us closer and closer together, and we pray that same thing for every righteous assembly scattered across the four corners of the world. I ask that you would bless the word that is coming forth from my mouth. I ask that you would bless every household of every person that's on this line right now. And I ask that you will also send your word forth and bless those who had a heart to be on and could not right now. We just ask that you would just magnify your word on this day, that you would give everyone their due portion, so that they may be edified and edify others. We give you all praise, honor, and glory, all thanks. In the name of Yahshua HaMashiach, amen. Hallelujah. All right. Anybody want to pray? Anybody else? Go ahead, Akosi.
Hallelujah. Father, we thank you for putting us on your paths, your righteous paths, taking us out of ways of paganism and things that we learned because we followed after other Elohim, after other gods. Thank you, Father, for calling your children out of darkness into your marvelous light. Psalm 50 says, "Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. Offer unto God," verse 14, "offer unto God thanksgiving, and pay thy vows unto the Most High. And call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me." Thank you, Father, for putting in us the desire to buffet our bodies during this fast, to sacrifice and humble ourselves. Father, I pray the spirit of our Elohim will rest upon your people, the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and the fear of you. Be upon your people right now, Father. Thank and praise you, Master. In Yahushua HaMashiach's name. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Anyone else? All right. Hallelujah. All right. Let's go ahead and get it then, family. Shouldn't be too long. Coming from 1 Corinthians 1:10. Says, "Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that ye all speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you, but that ye be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment." Hallelujah. All right. And with that, we're going to be coming from Matthew. I want to say it's Matthew. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, Matthew 26. There's so many things that we can highlight in the scripture. Everything that Hamashiach came and taught was showing us how to be a kingdom of priests under this Melchizedek order. So we can highlight all of it. But it's one particular thing I wanted to pay attention to, and of course we're gonna cover the Passover. But I wanted us to take a look at Hamashiach and how he operates around one that he knew was gonna betray him, right? And this is a very important story, and it's something that we should look deeper into from time to time and get an understanding that we too are going to be put in these positions, right? Even the scriptures tell you, it says, woe unto the man, woe unto the man who brings offenses, right? But it tells you that offenses will come. It says offenses are going to come, but for the person who brings the offense, right, it said it'd be better for that individual to put a millstone around their neck and hang and toss themselves into the sea, pretty much, to the ocean, right? Anybody who don't know what a millstone is, it's a big boulder. So he's saying that would be a better option. But the whole point was he was telling us that offenses are going to come, right? People are going to offend you. They're going to be offended by what you stand for, you being a standard. But it's always a way that you have to conduct yourself. There's always a way that you have to operate. You have to function. And when we look at Hamashiach, there's no better example because there were so many people who were coming against him. And because he was dead set on taking care of his father's business, he didn't have time to deal with the nonsense, right? You had instances where they were trying to toss him off of a mountain. They tried to push him off a mountain, right? And he just, he went vape on them real quick, went through the masses and got up out of there. But whenever they were coming to him with these bad intentions, right, or coming to him trying to get him riled up or out of pocket, He will only do what please Abba, right? And that's the mindset that we have to have if we're going to be a kingdom of priests. It's a requirement, right? It's a requirement to go through. You have to bear witness with his suffering. That's number one. And then number two, you have to display his character, because you never know who around you is going to receive repentance or receive faith, encouragement when you do so. All right. So I want to pay attention to this story. We're gonna break this down. Man, it's so much in it, but we're gonna just get enough. Y'all willing tonight? All right. Because I'll say one thing, when it comes to when it comes to people being upset, mad, or whatever at you, you have to understand that that's always an opportunity for you to stand in Christ. It's always an opportunity for you to show forth his glory. It's never it's an opportunity for separation. Everything that happens, everything that we do, all the words that we speak, whoever he sends us to, whoever we're around, right? It's always to do one thing: to bring people to him or to separate people from him, right? So he's always clearing the way for judgment, and he uses us to do so. And so whenever you're in a position to where you're witnessing to a person, or a person is offended by something that you said, how you react, how you carry yourself is going to either clear the way for judgment, or it's going to put you in judgment, right? It's going to be one or the other, because the Most High is not going to allow somebody to misrepresent his name. All right. All right. So where we at? 26 and start from. Let's see, 26 and oh, sorry, you want to sit over here?
No, I just was looking for
Oh,
the
okay.
Bible and stuff.
Yeah, we'll run it from might as well run it from one. We'll run it from one. It's cool. All right. It says, and it came to pass, when Jesus had finished all these sayings, he said unto his disciples, ye know that after 2 days is the feast of the Passover. It says, and the Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified. Then assembled together the chief priests and the scribes and the elders of the people unto the palace of the high priest, who was called Caiaphas, and consulted that they might take Jesus by subtlety and kill him. It says, but they said, not on the feast day, lest there be an uproar among the people. And you look at the mindset of Israel back then, it's the same mindset today, right? Not saying, hey, we shouldn't do wickedness, but saying, hey, man, let's just wait until after, right? Let's wait until after this or that. Let's wait until after this feast day, this Moed, right? Still contemplating sin, but thinking that you justify because you're keeping a feast day. And that's why we have to get out of that mindset and get back into the mindset of following Christ, right? And being the standard, because the feast day means nothing if you got a wicked heart, right? If your heart is not far from him, man, he don't care about your feast days. I think we just read it the other day. Akhad brought it out on the Shabbat, where he said, man, I'm tired of your sacrifices, right? I'm tired of your feast days, tired of your Sabbaths and your new moons and, all of those things, man. He said, I'm sick of it. Y'all can keep that, right? Because the way you're offering up to me, your heart is still far from me, right? You're doing it out of repetition, right? Or you're doing it because you think that you have to, but you don't really find joy in doing it. And man, it's so funny. Me and Chantel was just talking about this the other night, as far as whenever you get off, having to get back on track with Christ, and how hard it could be to get back on that path. But one of the things that the Most High had revealed to me one time was the things that we have in place to serve him. We actually will find justification in that, while all the while we're walking away from him, right? Like I can, at one point, I kid you not, man, I'm always in the word, right? We had prayer on Tuesdays, then I did study on Thursdays, and of course I bring something out on the Shabbat. And then at one point Me and TJ, we was building every Shabbat after the Shabbat. I'm like, man, I'm always in the Word, right? And so by saying that, or anybody outwardly looking at me, they'd be like, oh man, yo, he must have a really good relationship with the Most High because he always in it, right? He doing all these things. All these things are geared towards the Most High. But do you know you could be doing every last one of those things and still not even have a heart to serve him, right? You're doing it because you feel like that's what you have to do, right? You're doing it because you don't want to be condemned. You don't want to feel guilty if you don't do it. But he knows where your heart is, right? And the question you have to ask yourself, and he put this on my heart, the question you have to ask yourself is, man, if I took all these things away from you, how would you feel about that, right? Would it hurt you because now you couldn't do these things to serve me? Or would you just feel a relief because now, hey, that's one less thing you got to do, right? And that tells you where you are with him as far as where your heart is, because if you're truly doing something to serve him, right? Um, it's a joy to do it. It's a joy to do it. And even if those things were removed from you, man, it would be something that you will almost lament over, because it's like, man, yo, this was something that I did to serve him. And so, yeah, let me give me something else. What else can I do in order to minister unto you, right? You wouldn't look at it as, oh man, well, at least that's done, right? And so it just kind of lets us know where we are with him when we look at the things that we do for him and how we feel doing those things, like where our heart is when it as it pertains to him, I guess you could say, right? And I say all that just to say, man, a feast day, you can keep a feast day all day long. You can keep every feast day, and it could be the most extravagant, so beautiful. But man, when he visits those feasts, he's judging the hearts of man. He's looking at every heart of man to see, man, who is like me, right? Who has on the same garments that I have on. When he comes back, he's not judging you based off of, how good you kept a feast, right? And I'll take it one step further. He ain't judging you based off of whether you ate clean or unclean, right? Whether you have fringes on. He's not judging you based off of all of these things that in the land of our captors, man, you don't know what you could be eating sometimes. But you get something from one place, man, it can have something slid in there that's unclean. But what is your heart, right? What is the desire of your heart? You saying, man, nah, forget that. I'm gonna just go eat everything that's unclean. See, that's a person's heart. That's not geared towards them. That's saying, man, even though I know his word says this, I'm gonna do the opposite. But a person that's trying, man, even if you eat something unclean, man, he can preserve your body. He can keep you through that, because he knows what you have a heart to serve him. You want to appear like he is. And so when he judges you, man, he winks at these things. All right. But a person who claims to be of him or to follow him, and they have wickedness in their heart, malice, man, those are the ones that he's clearing the way for judgment. He will separate, right? All right, let's keep it going. We have Matthew 26 and verse 5. No, 6. Mm-hmm. Read me up. It's about to be a water extravaganza. About to get it. All right. All right. It says, now when Jesus was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of a very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? Man. It says, for this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. But when Jesus understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she saith, for she have wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she have poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever the gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this, that this woman have done, be told for a memorial of her. And of course, we're discussing it right now. She was preparing him for a burial, right? and the alabaster that she had, man, this was a precious ointment. If you can even think about it, if you think about poor or middle class families growing up, man, you might have had one or two things that were considered to be valuable, right? That you would keep. Like this was something that would be valuable to her, that she's given to him. This is something that be valuable to her, that she's offering up to him because she recognizes who he is and that he's about to go to the grave. She's preparing, right? And maybe she didn't even know that she was preparing him for the burial, but she's like, man, I have to anoint him with these oils, right? And these precious ointments, man. And they didn't even understand that. They thinking about the bag. I'm telling you, man. 14. It says, then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests and said unto them, what will you give me, and I will deliver him unto you? And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. And from the time he saw opportunity to betray him, right? So they had no accusation against Mashiach. And once you get this full picture, they had nothing to accuse him of, right? They had nothing to bring to him. He kept telling them, hey, show me where the sin is. Every time they would come and try to bring an accusation. Now, what are they doing? They're getting one from within. They're getting somebody from inside, right? Who's going to fabricate something, come up with a story to what? Get him caught up. These things can happen. They will happen, right? But what you have to understand is that this is something that, first of all, Hamashiach already knew. He already had knowledge of. But he understood that, look, no matter what you do, it doesn't stop the Most High's will. It doesn't stop what needs to be performed, what I need to do, right? It didn't get him off of what he was supposed to do, off of his assignment. How many times do we let what other people do on the outside, their outside talk, gossip, what they might think about a certain situation? It gets you off of your task and what the Most High has for you to do. And then when you get outside of him, we just read it last night, you cannot please him. Right? This is like if you were a priest back in the times when we were in the land and you get caught up with doing the job of a blacksmith or something like that. You get caught up in something that's outside of what you're supposed to be ministering. So now there's a work left undone because you're focused on something. Listen, you're focused on something that you cannot change. You're focused on something that's going to happen. People are going to talk about you. It's going to happen, right? People are going to be angry because you don't do Christmas and Easter. They're going to be angry because you don't keep pagan feast days. They just are, right? It's not something that you can change. It ain't something that you can correct unless the Most High chooses to reveal it unto them, right? The only thing you can worry about is what the Most High has given you to minister, right? How am I supposed to serve? Let me not get off my track. Hamashiach, that's all he was trying to show them. Look, we gotta go. We got things to do, right? Whatever you have to do, what? Do it quickly. We got to take care of. Go ahead, right? We got business to take care of. Whatever you must do, do it. And that's the mindset that we got to have today. It doesn't matter what a person thinks about us or whatever. Are we ministering to the Most High? As long as you ministering to him, he got you. Let his will be done, right? And let all those separate themselves, because that's all they're doing. It's just preparing the way for judgment, right? So it says that he was going to look for an opportunity where he could betray him. 16 again, it says that from the time that he saw opportunity to betray him. 17, now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus, saying unto him, where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover? And he said, go into the city to such a man and say unto him, the master saith, my time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples. Man, this off note, but you know how crazy it was, how many times he kept telling them, man, I'm going to the grave, like I'm about to be sacrificed, I'm about to be crucified, right? They didn't even get it until he was gone. They didn't even understand it. Like he kept telling them and they still was just like, nah, it ain't gonna happen. Right? It's just so crazy because they knew him in part, man. They knew him in part, but they did not fully understand that. Look, what I declare is what's gonna come to pass, right? Even with us, man, we know in part, we speak in part. We don't have a full understanding, but we at least need to get that mindset of whatever the Most High declares, like that's what's gonna happen. That is what's gonna come to pass, right? Even if you don't have the fullness of it. All right, let's keep it rolling. 19, it says, and the disciples did as Jesus appointed them, and they made ready the Passover. Now, when the even was come, he sat down with them. Let me put this in front of myself, just in case it's going on. It says, 19 again, and the disciples did as Jesus appointed them, and they made ready the Passover. Now, when the even was come, he sat down with the 12, and they did eat. And he said, verily, I say unto you, that one of you shall what? Betray me. One of you should betray me. And they were exceeding sorrowful, and began every one of them to say unto him, Lord, is it I? Right? They didn't even, he's telling them one is going to betray me. And all of them, it says that they felt sorrow, like, man, how? Like, how is this going to happen? How am I going to betray him? Right? How am I going to be the one to sell him out? But that's what every last one of them in their heart, they if you could tell what's even going on at this time, man, every last one of them in their heart, like, man, which one of y'all? Because I know it ain't me, right? I know it ain't me that's doing it, man. Which one of y'all, right? Is it Peter? Is it you, right? They gotta be, minds gotta be going crazy, because it's like, man, who would sell out? Who would sell out Hamashiach? Who would sell out the king, right? Everything that he's given us, all the power that he's given us, right? Who would sell him out? Who would do it? But you got to understand, it's a person whose heart is not with him. It's a person whose heart is far from him. A person who has they are carnally minded, right? And it does not matter what you do for people. It don't matter how it doesn't matter how nice you are. It don't matter how well you speak, huh? How mean you are. No, nice. Well, that matters, yeah. You don't want to be mean to people, but it don't matter how nice. It don't matter how nice you are. Some people are just going to be turned off by you because of what you stand for, because of the standard, right? If you think about Judas Iscariot, when he saw these ointments being put on the king, I mean, all of them. It wasn't just Judas that was just like, man, what are you doing? But it was Judas that was just like, oh, okay, all right. Nah, man, that's the last straw. Nah, bro. Nah, we just take an ointment now, just put it on him. He said this for his burial. He like, nah. Hey, where the priest at? I'm gonna go find him. We go. It's a wrap, right? But think about everything that he had up to this point, right? Everything that he was shown and given. He too cast out demons, right? Yeah. He too was given that power. When he sent them out 2 by 2, he was given the same authority that the rest of them were given. But what? His heart was still not with the it was still wicked. It was still, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you could, the works are the works. All right, you could do the works, and the Most High will allow you to do it. We just read it last night in that Ezekiel, right? He will allow you to do it, but you still won't be able to take part in the kingdom. He's the only one who will fire you and still keep you on the clock all day long. I'm telling you, man. All right, let's keep it going. Y'all rolling up, Asher. All right. Who is that? Minnie. All right. It says, where are we at? 22. We'll read 22 again. And they were exceeding sorrowful, and began every one of them to say unto him, Lord, is it I? And he answered and said, He that dippeth his hand with me in the dish, the same shall betray me. The Son of Man goeth as it is written of him. But woe unto that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It had been good for that man if he had not been born. Then Judas, which betrayed him, answered and said, Master, is it I? He said unto him, Thou hast said. Right? You think about the heart of Judas, man, how wicked he really was to even say that. Is it I? Right? Still trying to play up an appearance like, oh man, let me appear like everybody else, like I haven't done anything wrong. But lo and behold, he's betraying you. But I want us to pay attention to Hamashiach. He knows it, right? He's not getting angry about it. He's about to go through a suffering that none of us whatever experience. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe. I pray we don't. I'll say that. I pray we don't. But the suffering that he's about to go through, he understands the reason for it, the purpose, man, is because y'all's children need to have an opportunity to be redeemed, right? They need to have an opportunity to come back into the house. And if I act out of character, man, it demolishes all of that. It destroys everything, right? You too are a son of man. You too are sons and daughters of Yah. You have the same responsibility when you come into this truth. When you are clothed with these garments, you have the same responsibility. It doesn't matter what they do. He's looking at what my son and my daughter are going to do. I'm looking at what my children are going to do, because that dictates how I'm going to judge the situation. Right? I'm looking at what they do. When people act up, he's looking at the one who he what put his word in. In this situation, man, it's not about Judas. Judas, his course has already been set. Hamashiach already knows what he's about to do. The thing that everybody is supposed to look back on when he's betrayed is, man, look at Hamashiach, man. He still went with it. He knew the whole time. And he still did what? His father's business. He didn't allow it to get him off course. Right? He still did what he was responsible for. He ministered.
He could have pointed Judas out in the midst of all the 12, and he didn't.
He could have pointed him out. He could have pointed him out, right? He could have had the situation handled, taken care of, in more than one way. He did what he was told. Why? Because it's obedience over everything else, right? What would be the purpose of destroying all this, getting rid of Judas? And it's like, yeah, but now he can't be our redemption, right? Now he can't offer up his blood for us, and that's more important to him because it's important to the Father, right? And so if it's more important to the Father for you to what? Die daily, if it's more important to the Father for you to have to go through ridicule, right? For you to have to go through a persecution, if that's more important for him so that he can prepare the way and clear the way for judgment, then what is going to be your mindset? What's going to be in your heart? Right? Are you still going to seek to establish your own way, or are you going to maintain the course and walk the Father's path, right? And what he set for you? Because the end of that path is life, right? The end of that path is life. He was set on course. 25, it says, then Judas said, which betrayed him, answered and said, Master, is it I? He said unto him, thou hast said. And they were eating, it says, and as they were eating, Jesus took bread and blessed it and brake it and gave it to the disciples and said, take and eat, this is my body. And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, drink ye all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until the day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. Right? And so this is what we would call what's it called? The communion, right? They call it communion, drinking the blood, eating the bread, right? Or the wine and the bread. But the reason why you shouldn't partake of the cup when your heart is not geared towards the Most High, because you're taking part in his suffering. You're taking part in his body, his sacrifice, right? That's a curse to a person who's going to partake of that, but they don't believe. It's not in their heart, right? That's why just keeping the Passover, it ain't just about eating some food. It's not just about the leaven and the bitter herb and the lamb. It's not about the wine and all those things like that. It's what they represent, because everything points to him and his sacrifice for us. Everything, even going all the way back to Egypt, right? Us coming out of Egypt, those lambs that were inspected and slaughtered, the blood that covered us, man, that was a life that had to be given up for us, that the Most High allowed. He put something in place so that you can receive deliverance. And now we have a permanent placeholder that gives us deliverance, that gives us redemption, allows us to repent and come back into the truth and to partake of that. But in your heart, you're wicked. In your heart, you have an ought against your brother. In your heart, you don't seek to do his will, right? You want to establish your own way. You got exaltation in your heart. You want to seek to be higher than him, right? If this is your heart and you partaking of this bread and this wine, Man, it's a curse unto you. Because how am I going through all this suffering, but you ain't got no respect or honor unto it, right? So you gonna still partake. Go ahead, Doc.
Let me say this, right? So look, the example is the wilderness. They understood what that blood, that lamb meant when they got out, right? They understood because remember everybody started crying in Egypt. So they knew what had happened. The firstborn had died, right? So they knew full well that because they was obedient and slaughtering that lamb and put the blood on the doorpost, they understood what that meant. But they despised it when they got in the wilderness, they did not obey him. That's why they did not get into that promised land, a lot of them. But it's the same way for Mashiach right now.
Mm-hmm.
You come in a new covenant, you say you believe him, and then you don't want to do what he tells you to do, you're doing the same thing the ancestors done when they left Egypt.
Same thing.
And we just, we got to catch that. You know what I mean? He's showing us a perfect example. In Hebrews 4 to talk about it, but go ahead, bro.
Yeah, it do. You're absolutely right. Because this is, man, and we're gonna go there too. We can read it. It's a dishonor, it's a disrespect for Judas right now to be partaking, knowing that he's about to sell him out. Right? He's telling you, this is my body, this is my blood. And he's saying that this is my body that I'm breaking for you. Right? This is my blood that I'm offering up for you, and you're gonna partake of it and then dishonor his name. Right? This is why our actions, every time we do something that's outside of him, man, we dishonor his name, and we take for granted the covering that's on us. Man, if we understand this, man, without him, man, we're nothing. We are lambs fit for the slaughter, right? A lamb is one of the most precious animals, but it needs a shepherd. Why? Because it can't fight for itself. It don't matter how big or tough you think you are outwardly, man, you will be destroyed by these nations if Hamashiach ain't covering you. And a lot of times we take for granted the covering that we had before we even fully came into this thing. Right? How many times he protected you? Man, he was keeping them through all this. Even when he left, he said, what? I'm not going to leave you comfortless. You think I'm going to leave y'all and I'm not going to send you something back that's going to continue to cover you and guide you so that you can minister to me? Why? Because you are of me. Right? You're in me and I'm in you. That's how beautiful it is, man, when we have him. But when you step outside of him, man, you're taking for granted the cover, and you don't understand if he takes his hand off you, you're done. You're destroyed. Saul comes to mind, right? You're done. It's a slippery slope to destruction. And Judas found this out, right? He found this out. But to take of this blood, this Passover that we keep, this Passover it's a memorial to it was always a memorial to point towards the Lamb, to point towards the King. It was always supposed to be pointing towards him. That sacrifice, the death angel, the covering, it all was supposed to be pointing towards him. The unleavened bread, everything that this feast, everything that's in this feast points to the King. It all does, right? Man, yeah, it all points to him, man. We just can't we can't dishonor his name when it comes to what this Moed means, what this feast day means, what this covering is, what this blood means, what this bread means, right? To partake of it. It's not a light thing. It was made for those who had a joy in the Most High and who wanted to keep His commandment. All right. Even the strangers. It says when they come in and they enter in the covenant, then what? They too can partake. Right? But they have to do what? They have to lay aside themselves. They got to lay aside their doctrine. They got to put aside their idols, their gods. They have to come into a covenant. Right? They would have to be circumcised for the men, right? To come into this thing and to actually partake. Why? Because you have to show you have a heart to be one. That's what this whole thing is about. People keeping Passover. Even now that we in the land, not everybody has the right. So you got some people, they keeping Passover. We keeping it today. Some people probably gonna do it tomorrow. You might have somebody do it next week. But you know what he's judging? Where's the heart? Do all of them have the same heart towards me when they're keeping it? Or are they just coming together to eat some lamb? Right? Or do they have a heart to be one with me and then one with each other until the kingdom comes, right?
And then we can't be concerned about when everybody else has Passover. Like you said, it's the heart. Because when he decides to, everybody's going to be on one accord serving communion together on the same day when he says so, when he gets it all together.
Right.
So it can't be us. We can't worry about that.
Yeah, that's why you can't get too prideful about you know these moeds when we're keeping them and stuff like that, because or anything that we're doing. When he comes back, everybody get corrected. Everybody. Everybody gonna feel like it's a beautiful thing, right? You want the correction before the judgment. All right. Well, let's keep it going. All right, 30. It says, and when they had sung a hymn, they went out into the Mount of Olives. Then said Jesus unto them, all ye shall be offended because of me this night, for it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. But after I am risen again, I will go before you in Galilee. So he told them what? All of you will be offended. He said, all of you shall be offended because of me this night, right? Because as I go, right, you're gonna think that I have deserted you. I have left you. We saw it, right? They thought that he really wasn't coming back. They didn't understand the words that he was speaking, right? But he said, I'm gonna come unto you again, and I will show myself. There's another version of this that I wanted. I think it might be in Luke, where he tells Judas to do what he has to do quickly. Why you find me that? Might be a Mark.
It's going to be 22.
Luke 22.
Let me see. Let me find it first.
All right. Just so we get an understanding of what's going on around us, right? We're a royal priesthood, right? We're a chosen generation, a chosen people, right? He's called us to do a work. He's called us to do a work. All these outside distractions are just that, something to get you off, something to keep you from ministering, to get you out of your office, right? To get you out of what the Most High has chosen you to do. And we just talking about people, right? We're gonna get to us as well.
22 is when he came back, but that's not it.
You sure? No, we in there on 22. Now I think that's right. You in Luke 22, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We're gonna read 22 and start at 1. Yeah.
I got it. I was just trying to make sure that this was the one that says that where he told Judas to whatever you have to do it quickly.
Yeah. If not, that's fine. We'll get to it. But I want us to see this, that the workings of these individuals, you got to understand that these are spirits in themselves. They're ruachs that these people are operating under, just like you operating under a ruach, right? You're operating under a spirit, and so are they, right? And they're contrary to one another. So a lot of times we encounter these people who have these ruachs on them, and I did a lesson on this before. I'm not even sure if it's uploaded or not, but the thing that to maintain you or to keep you on your path is to recognize the spirits that you're dealing with, right? And to understand that a person can be delivered from that, right? But it keeps you in a right mind when you understand that, man. For some people, man, these type of spirits just take them over when you're around them. You know what I'm saying? You're talking to them about a certain thing. You could talk to a person about scripture and they just get angry. They just get upset, right? And just understand that that's something that they working under, man. You got to pray for them, fast for them if need be, right? But understand the spirit that they're working under. If you truly desire for them to be delivered, then you'll move accordingly, right? You won't get out of character, because those spirits that they operate under are just trying to get you over to that side. It's trying to get you into a dark place, in the darkness, right? Misery loves company, so to speak, right? Whenever you see this operating, it's trying to get you to that level, to where you act out. This is why you got to maintain, man. Hamashiach, I mean, he did it beautifully every single time dealing with the Pharisees, right? every single time dealing with them. And this is how we have to be in this hour, because we can't dirty our garments for anybody, right? It's too many other people who are lost, depending depending on us, who the word is in, right? They're depending on the children of the Most High, right? They're looking for a light, they're looking for a sign. You can't dirty up your garments by lowering yourself to somebody who's operating under a wicked spirit, wicked mindset, right? Luke 22 verse 1. It says, now the feast of unleavened bread drew nigh, which is called the Passover, and the chief priests and the scribes saw how they might kill him, for they feared the people. Then entered Satan into Judas, surnamed Iscariot, being of the number of the 12. And he went in his way and communed with the chief priests and captains, how he might betray him unto them. And so when we look at this, we'll oftentimes we'll think that this was like a possession type thing where, oh man, he didn't have no control over himself. What it said, when it's saying that he entered into him, man, he gave him a thought, right? He spoke to him and put something in his mind that was already in the heart of Judas. And this happens with a lot of people, man. It happens with us all the time, man. You will allow wickedness, you will allow a thought to come, and then you'll want to move on that thought. You'll think on it too long and want to act on it, because that's something that's in your heart that you need to pray that the Most High gets rid of, right? And we need to be conscious of this. This is why it's so man, this is why we need Christ, right? We need him, because we couldn't do it without him, right? This is what Paul was talking about in Romans 7. But when it comes to Judas, it was a thought that was put in him, right? It was something that provoked him to move, right? Hasatan was his master, right? At this point. And so he gave him the idea to conspire against somebody who was righteous, and then what? He moved on it, right? And it's gonna happen more than once. But it says, and he went his way and communed with the chief priests and captains, how he might betray him unto them. And they were glad and coveted to give him money and promise, and sought opportunity to betray him unto them in the absence of the multitude. Then came the day of unleavened bread, when the Passover must be killed. And he sent Peter and John, saying, go and prepare us the Passover, that we may eat. And they said unto him, where wilt thou that we prepare it? He said unto them, behold, when ye enter into the city, there shall a man meet you, bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house where he enter in. And ye shall say unto the good man of the house, the master saith unto thee, where is the guest chamber where I shall eat the Passover with my disciples? And he shall show you a large upper room, furnished, there make ready. They went and found as he had said unto them. They made ready the Passover. And when the hour was come, he sat down, and the 12 apostles with him. And he said unto them, with desire I have desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. For I say unto you, I will not any more eat thereof until it be fulfilled in the kingdom of God. And he took the cup and gave thanks. Take this and divide it amongst yourselves. For I say unto you, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of God shall come. He took the bread and gave thanks, and brake it, gave it unto them, saying that this is my body, which is given for you. This do in remembrance of me. Likewise, also the cup after supper, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood, which is shared for you. But behold, the hand of him that betrayeth me is with me on the table. And truly the Son of Man goeth as it was determined, but woe unto that man by whom he is betrayed. And they began to inquire amongst themselves which of them it was that should do this thing. And there was also a strife among them, which of them should be accounted the greatest. Man, we ain't got time. We ain't got time, man. Think about what he just told them. I'm about to be betrayed, right? Not only were they talking about who could have done it, but then they started a conversation about who was going to be greatest, right? This wasn't even the first time that they did this. Man, they were trying to see, man, who was gonna hold the power. You know what I'm saying? After the king was gone, right? Who was gonna be the next man up, right? Who was gonna be the greatest among them when you got the king right here before you? This is why all this this strife and all this stuff that we got going on today within Israel, man, it has to stop. At least with this house, it definitely has to stop, right? None of us should be wrapped up in any debate or any striving back and forth with people. Why? Because, man, we represent the King. Man, it's his word. We don't need to strive about his word, right? His word is what it is, man. If a person can't accept that, then you got to let them go their way, right? But what it brings when you do strive back and forth is you contending with one another, trying to one up one another, trying to see who has more knowledge, who's bigger amongst you, who's greater amongst you, right? And that, I'm telling you, that's just pride. It's just pride. Let me get off that. 25. It says, and he said unto them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and they that exercise authority upon them are called benefactors. But ye shall not be so. But he that is greatest among you, let him be as the younger, and he that is chief, as he that doth what? Serve. For whether is greater, he that sitteth at meat, or he that serveth? Is not he that sitteth at meat, but I am among you as he that serveth. Priest requirements, right? The one who is highest above is the one who what performs the most service. Did we not read about this when we read about the Levitical priesthood, how it was set up? I even taught y'all this, right? How often did the priest have to work? The other nations, how often did they have to work? How many days?
Like 7, maybe 7 or 6.
6 days, right? And then they got what? The 7th day off. But the priest, what?
Every day.
Every day they served. They served, right? They were in the service, ministering before the Most High every single day. It was work to be done, right? So yeah, the people that sit at meat, yeah, that's cool. But the ones who serve, man, that is the heart of Hamashiach. That's the heart that we have to have towards one another. Go ahead.
So when the priest worked every day, like 7 days, is he doing something wrong, or
that's a job? You're not doing anything wrong. That's what he was called to do, right? He was called to minister every day. They were called to do a work. There were certain things that they had to ensure were done every single day in order to please the Most High, and in order to establish his tabernacle, right? And establish his order for the people. You got to think about it like that. Everything that they were doing, it wasn't for them. It was to make it so the presence of the Most High could come before the people if need be. It was to set the stage for him to come and deliver, to bring a word, to fight for us. They had to maintain that order in order to do that, right? Yeah. Go ahead, Op.
John.
Hey, just think about the heart, right? Right now, we supposed to be a kingdom of priests, but do most people want to serve or be served? Are they waiting to get some servants, or do they want to serve?
Right. Come on, man. Come on. They want to be served, right? You want to establish a position to be served, but he's telling you, and what we know from the script to be true, man, the higher up you are, the more service you got to do. The more service you got to do. Yeah, you get commended for that service. You got people who acknowledge you and things like that. But the higher up you are, the more service you should be doing for the people, right? The more weight you have to carry. Man, when it came to what am I thinking of? When it came to the priest, man, they had to work 7 days a week, man. They had to put that service out. But like I said, it was to set the stage for the Most High. It was to prepare everything for the Most High, for visitation, for him to come among us, to offer up to him, right? This was the work that they had to do.
Think about it. It wasn't for them. It was more like something honorable to do because you're working for the Most High. So it wasn't really work. It was something that you wanted to do because you're serving the Lord.
That's what it was supposed to be. See, but you talking about the heart, right? Go ahead, huh?
Bro, I just want to say this. To be real, can you see how weak as men Israel has gotten? Because these brothers still had wives and kids too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just think, if we keep it real, boy, we don't got weak.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to tighten up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But to your point, and just in case y'all ain't hear it, she was saying that that's something that they were it was an honor to do, right? That's something that they would be happy to do, to serve the Most High, to do it because this is what he required, right? That was supposed to be the heart. But what you found with a lot of the priests is they hated doing it because they were looking at everybody else and saying, man, look at what they get the Shabbat off, man. They work a 9 to 5, they get to punch in and out, right? They ain't got the same service, we do the same requirements. They're not held to the same standard. And so they wanted to go to a lower standard instead of understanding that, man, we are y'all's inheritance. We're his chosen people. And so, yeah, we have to serve more, but man, look at the glory that's coming out of it, right? And look how the Most High will protect us and keep us if we do it, right? And we do it with a joyous heart, right? It's no different today. You think about your heart, man. Think about if you do something for the Most High. I'll bring it just to y'all kids, man. When you do something for your parents and you do it with a cheerful heart, man, it brings joy. It brings joy to us. It's a pleasing thing to give you instruction and then watch you fulfill that word, right? Follow that out, do everything that you're supposed to do, and you do it with joy, right? No murmuring, no complaining, no sighing, no, oh my God, I wish I could be doing something else, right? None of that. Just doing it because, man, I want to please my parents. And when you do that, man, you get an even greater reward, right? You get it's more honor bestowed upon you. You'll be even more blessed because it's like, man, I'm gonna keep you, I'm gonna protect you, I'm gonna preserve you, right? I'm gonna give you more abundantly than you can even imagine because of your service to me, right? But it's doing it with a cheerful heart. You're not even doing it for that reason. That's why these things can be given unto you, because it's not even in your heart to want to receive that. It's not even in your heart to want to get gain. I just want to please out, right? I mean, I'm telling you, the priest, and then we're gonna get back to it. I'll say it like this: the priest had to offer up the biggest sacrifice for themselves, right? We talked about that. Remember that? Aaron and his sons had to offer up the biggest sacrifice for themselves before they could offer up for the people, because they were held to a higher standard. It was more required, right?
Was the priest's heart like, was it harsh or was it hard to do?
Yeah.
What are you saying? Was their heart or was their work?
Like, is their job was hard?
I don't know that it was hard. It was just labor.
Yeah. So she was asking, what was the priest like? Was their job hard? It could be strenuous at times, right? Because it's still a lot of work, and you weren't getting the support from the other nations. We broke all this down before, as far as them getting stuff from the other nations, and if they didn't get it, what that meant, right? All right, so y'all understand that. We were doing a sideline class, and they got questions today. All right, but
normally their class.
right. But if we understand this is they had to offer up the biggest sacrifice. The priest did. They had to offer up a bullock before they could offer up for the people, because it was much more required of them. For us, being in that kingdom mindset, being in this Melchizedek priesthood, is more required of you, right? A lot of times we're focusing on the ones who are outside of him, and we looking at everything that they could do, right? Everything that they can get away with, right? But you can't get away with that. You can't get away with talking a certain type of way. You can't get away with dressing a certain type of way. You can't get away with acting a certain type of way on the job, right? You can't get away with not doing certain things that he's required of you the way he's told you to do it. Right? You can't get away with those things. You're gonna find yourself reaping what you sow early and often, because I'm not gonna let you lower the standard, right? I'm not gonna let you bring down the standard so other people, when they get on, they think that this is the way we rock, right? Hamashiach came to establish the standard and show you that, look, this is the path that you have to choose if you're gonna follow me. This is what it looks like. Right, but just see also the provision, the protection, and the covering of the Most High while you're going through all of it. Because what? You are his. You are his. You're his inheritance. Right? Until you decide you're not. All right.
Esau said it's in John 13:27.
Okay. We'll hit that up after. Let me yeah, we'll finish this out and we'll hit that up. All right. It says, for whether is greater, he that sitteth at meat or he that serveth, is not he that sitteth at meat, but I am among you as he that serveth. Ye are they which have continued with me in my temptations, and I appoint unto you a kingdom, as my Father has appointed unto me, that ye may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan have desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not. And when thou art converted, strengthen what? Thy brethren. When thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. But he said, man, Peter, I'm praying for you because Satan has desired to have you. A lot of y'all, because of the understanding that you have, the knowledge that you have, because of your heart, Satan desires to have you as well. Right? This is why we can't allow other people to get you off the path. You can't allow people to take you off course, and you can't allow negative thoughts to come in and to take you away from the Most High as well. We was talking about that this morning. For those who didn't make it, for those who didn't make it on, you have to get to the place where you are you accepting what the Most High has called you to walk in, right? Because a lot of negative self-talk and doubt and things that you put in your mind can keep you from fully pursuing the Most High as well, right? It can keep you out of the kingdom just by constantly doubting yourself, or doubting what the Most High could do for you, or doubting what you're supposed to be doing in Him when you know He's called you, right? And so we have to get to the place where we are we are being set apart, man. I can't stress it enough. We are the priests. We are the kingdom of priests. He has established us. We know where His tabernacle is. It's in the Shemaim, right? He's called us to minister unto Him spiritually, right? To commune with Him so that He can give us instruction on what we need to do on a daily basis for others to be delivered, right? For others to be delivered. Because all Hasatan is, all he's looking for is a chance. He's looking for a chance to put a thought in you, to get you to forsake this word, to get you to walk away from Hamashiach, to get you to leave this ministry so that he can destroy you and your family. That's all he's looking for. He's just looking for an opportunity, just a crack, so that he could come in and destroy the foundation, right? To sow lives, to sow deceit, right? To put envy or pride in you. Right, to keep you from fulfilling the Most High's will, His purpose for you.
And He's constantly at us on a daily basis. So He's always dropping words. He's just waiting for one of those words to grab hold for you to just entertain the thought much too long than you should, instead of casting it down. So he's never off of his job.
Right.
His job is 24/7, just like the Most High doesn't sleep. He doesn't sleep either. So he's in between you studying and praying and trying to keep your mind stayed on the Most High. The enemy is like, well, let me just try to throw this in here. And when your thoughts are off and you're like, where did that come from? You know it didn't come from the Most High. It came from Him, but He's hoping you'll entertain the thought, the action, whatever it is that He's put in your path, so
right,
that you can get you off.
Right, absolutely. It was with everything that the Most High does, what makes it so beautiful to follow Him and so easy is that, man, He lays it all out as far as, man, this is my instruction. This is what I want you to do. Right, this is the order. And so when He lays that out, the point is so that you know what path to follow, what instruction to follow, and then you can cast out instructions that come outside of that, or you can cast out words that come that don't align with that, right? And this is what we have to start doing. You can't allow the enemy to bring words to you or things that enter your mind that you know the Most High ain't tell you. He's not saying it to you, right? You know He's not declaring this to you because He called you, because He chose you, right? So you're not gonna get a word from the Most High saying, man, oh, that's it, man, you can't make it. Right? The Most High ain't going back on His word, man. I called you, I gave you this understanding. Now I'm telling you, nah, I changed my mind. You can't make it. Right? Right? You can't make it. You ain't got it in you. Right? He's not gonna come with that. He's gonna come to you telling you, hey, you know what you need to do. You need to repent and return back unto me. Right? And let me build you up again. If need be, let me break you and flatten you and build you back up again. Right? With the foundation that I've established. Some of us need that. That's talking about that broken and contrite heart in Psalms 51. All right, man. Where are we going? John
13.
John 13.
But
Yeah.
just that one where if you're wanting to get what Judas.
Yeah, let's go to John 13, and then we'll get ready to close out. It was one more that I had. After this Moreh, and even now, hopefully we all kind of are in that same vein, right? It should be knowing, you have to know that you are what the Most High has called you to be, right? It's no longer, it shouldn't be any doubt in you that you are a priest. You have to start declaring these things, right? You got to start putting these things out in the atmosphere so you can walk according to it, hold yourself accountable, and let the word hold you accountable as well, right? You have to start declaring these things, establishing them, that this is the office that the Most High has called you in, to minister to Him, to serve others, right? So that way you could walk in that responsibility. You can accept it and walk in it and accept all the things that come with it. John 13 and
Yeah, I will start at 26.
26. John 13 and 26. We're gonna run this down, and I got one more. All right. It says, Jesus answered, he it is to whom I shall give a sop when I have dipped it. And when he had dipped the sop, he gave it to Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon. And after the sop, Satan entered into him. And then said Jesus unto him, that thou doest, do it quickly. Now no man at the table knew for what intent he spake this unto him. For some of them thought, because Judas had the bag, that Jesus had said unto him, buy those things that we have need of against the feast, or that he should give something to the poor. He then, having received the sop, went immediately out, and it was night. Therefore, when he was gone out, Jesus said, now is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him. Why? Because the will of the Most High is about to be performed, right? It's about to be established. Now is the Son of Man glorified. So when it comes to us in that same respect, it doesn't matter what other people do, right? We have to make way for what? The Father to receive glory out of whatever it is. He didn't sell Judas out, right? He said, man, whatever you're gonna do, go and do it, right? Do it quickly, right? It's already in your heart to do it, to betray me. You've already conspired against me. Go ahead and perform it. When it comes to anybody on the outside, anybody you encounter in your life, go ahead and perform it. Do what you do and do it quickly. It makes us know, never mind, that you're talking against me, that you're coming against me, that you don't believe the word, that you believe is tampered with, whatever. Who cares what doctrines they following? Man, y'all do what y'all do and do it quickly. Son of Man is coming, right? Until then, what are we gonna do? We're gonna walk in the manifestation that the Most High has put within us, because we want to glorify Him. All of that outside stuff, it doesn't mean anything. That's why I keep saying, man, it's good to be aware of what's going on, but don't be fixated on it to the point where it gets you off of the path. Don't be so concerned with it that you become distracted by it, because it should only be, oh man, that's happening over there. Okay, now let me look up. Abba, what you want me to do? Right? Oh, they doing that over there? Oh, okay, Abba, what you want me to do? Because with this going on, I want to please you. How can I do it? With this happening over here, I want to please you. How can I do it? That's all Hamashiach was doing.
So with Judas, his heart, like he had a bad seed planted in his heart, and instead of just casting that out and looking to Yah, he dwelled on that seed, and it kind of like grew into a plant to the point where he's like going against the Most High now, instead of just asking for forgiveness and like turning back to him.
Well, his heart was when it comes to Judas, his heart was always against him, right? His heart was always against him. And you'll have people like that who they'll walk with you, but they really don't. They're really not rooted the way that you are. And you might not find out until it comes to a situation where they leave you hanging, they betray you, or they come against you, something like that, right? They might talk about you behind your back, right? And then you see what manner of man or woman that person was when they do it. But what should your reaction be is what you have to focus on. When these things do take place, what is your job?
Is it like Our job is like to focus on him, have your heart.
That's it. Focus on him, right? Focus on him. Focus on the mark, which is Jesus Christ, right? Focus on the target, right? And keep walking towards it. Don't worry about what they're doing, because all they've done is what? Clear the way for judgment. All right, I know who you are. And so I know not to stay around you, right? I know who you are. Whatever you're gonna do, go and do it quickly. I'm gonna keep walking, right? And that's what the king showed us. 32, we'll keep going. It says, if God be glorified in him, God shall also glorify him in himself, and shall straightway glorify him. Little children, yet a little while I am with you, you shall seek me. And as I said unto the Jews, whither I go, you cannot come. So now I say to you, a new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another, as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have love for one another. That same love he showed towards Judas in this situation. Y'all see that? And that's what I'm saying. Like that's the priest mindset. With that same love that he's talking about, he showed it to the one who was betraying him. Right? It allows the Most High to clear the way and prepare the way for judgment. That's why I said anytime you get in a situation, he's looking at you. What is going to be your response? You don't have time to hate. Right? You don't have time to despise. You don't have time to get back at somebody. Right? You don't have time for those things, because all it's going to do is get you away. It's just going to be a distraction for you. Whenever you allow that into your heart, all it's going to do is just take you away from the Most High. Now you can't hear him. And who knows how long it's going to be till you get in your right mind again, and now you got to bring forth repentance. But man, look at all the damage I've done. That phone call the other day, that wasn't too good, right? Or that text message I sent, or what I posted on a social media website, right? All because what? I was angry. All because I was consumed, man. You were distracted. That's why the repentance has to be brought forward. We don't have time for it. We don't have time for that. You don't have time for anything that's not of Yah. You don't have time for anything that's outside of the fruit of the Spirit. You don't have time for those things. Just a distraction. 36. It says, Simon Peter said unto him, Lord, whither goest thou? Jesus answered him, whither I go, thou cannot follow me now, but thou shalt follow me afterwards. Peter said unto him, Lord, why cannot I follow thee now? I will lay down my life for thy sake. Jesus answered him, Will thou lay down thy life for my sake? Verily, verily, I say unto thee, the cock shall not crow till thou hast denied me thrice. And then we know that Peter, being overzealous, right, not understanding that there was a furtherance that needed to be had before he laid down his life, man, he was put to shame in that hour, right, because he did deny. And I brought this out a couple times, man. When you read his story, he actually got out of character. In order to deny him, he had to do what? Show that, hey, I'm not of this cloth, right? Started cursing and everything. Because they was like, nah, that is you, man. You his disciple, ain't you? Right? And he had to show himself what? He had to change his conversation, his speech to show like, nah, I'm not with him, right? To get them to believe that. And that's why he cried. But that can't be us today. Last one I got, we brought it out this morning. Let's go to that 2 Peter 2. 1 Peter 2, I'm sorry. Bring this back just so we can get this understanding, that we'll close out. This whole series that we've done, I just want us to understand that when the priesthood was set up, number one, it was supposed to be a representation from every household, right? We know that Aaron, the high priest, and his sons were going to minister in the tabernacle, but it was supposed to be a priest in every household. And we covered that. It wasn't until we transgressed that he set up the Levitical priesthood, but there was requirements that came with that. There was requirements to how you put on the garments. There was a requirement to how you offered up a sacrifice, right? What you could take to offer up. There was a requirement, right? But they were also given an authority and a power because of them being chosen by the Most High and set apart, because they were considered to be holy and the Most High had consecrated them. They can now go and deal with holy things, right? They can now go and keep charge over set apart things, right? And it wasn't just because of their outer garment, it was because of what was supposed to be in their heart, and that the Most High had chosen them, setting them up to do this work, right? And so for the ones who did otherwise, for the ones who went outside of that, even though they had those garments on, it didn't do much for them, right? Nadab and Abihu, Eli, his sons, even Eli himself, right? Because he didn't judge his sons in that hour. What he got dealt with, and we see this throughout the scriptures. And so I just want our mindset to understand that, man, you are a priest. You have been called, you have been chosen to minister to him, and you have to take that responsibility seriously, because you don't have time to get your garments dirty. And if you continue to dirty yourself up after he's washed you and cleaned you and consecrated you, then he'll get rid of you, right? Because you're gonna bring down his name. You'll be excommunicado out of the, and he's not gonna allow you to do it, right? So we have to keep that we have to keep that heart that's after him, that desire that's after him above anything else, so that we can continue to minister righteously, not just out of necessity, not just because we feel like it gives us some type of outside power or authority or anything like that, but because, man, we just want to please him, and thank him for setting us apart. All right. What I said, 1 Peter 2. We're gonna read 1 through 9, and we'll. That's all I got. I wanted to assure us of this. All right. It says, wherefore, laying aside all malice and all guile and hypocrisies and envies and all evil speakings, as newborn babes, desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. If so, be ye have tasted the Lord is gracious, to whom coming as unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of man, but chosen of God, and precious, ye also, as lively stones, are built up a spiritual house, a holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God by Jesus Christ, right? You also are a spiritual house, a holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God by Jesus Christ. Wherefore also it is contained in the scripture, behold, I lay in Zion a chief cornerstone, elect, precious, and he that believeth on him shall not be confounded. Unto you, therefore, which believe he is precious, but unto them which be disobedient, the stone which the builders disallowed, the same is made the head of the corner, and a stone of stumbling, and a rock of offense, even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient, whereunto also they were appointed. And so you have people who are just going to stumble at this word. They're going to stumble at what you walk in, right? They're going to stumble at what you hold sacred, what you keep holy, right? They're going to stumble at it, meaning it's not going to, they're going to trip over it. They're not going to be able to make sense of it. And that's where the offenses come when it comes to us, right? That's where the offenses come. But you have to stay in a position of remaining holy, right? Of remaining set apart. Man, it was even rules set up for the priests of who they could eat with and who they couldn't eat with. Because you had to stay with people who were consecrated, who were set apart, who were holy, right? Couldn't just eat with anybody.
Like y'all call everybody your friends now.
Right. Right. Verse 9. It says, but ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who have called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. You have been called. His word does show you the way. He has shown us the way. Through the betrayal of Judas, right? He showed you how to maintain course even when you know somebody is against you, right? We know that this world system is against us, right? We know there's so many things around us trying to destroy us, but we have to stay the course, because we have to keep what's holy, holy, so that those who are in darkness, who seek the Most High, may be able to find those individuals who are over his holy things, who are set apart themselves. The only way they're gonna see that is looking at your actions, your heart, your conversation. The moment you step outside of that, to keep it real, is the moment you bring shame to the Most High, right? And the moment you could destroy somebody's, you could take them off course, right? Man, I'm telling you. You could take them off course. This is why, man, you remember when the children tried to go up to Mashiach, what the disciples tried to prevent them, right? And he said, nah, you better allow them to come into me and accept you come to me this way, right? Except you continue to pursue me like one of these, right? You will not have a right into the kingdom. Like this is what we have to be in this hour. We can't be so trying to pick the right word. We can't be so spiritually minded, in a sense, so haughty that we get beside ourselves, that we don't think about what the Most High wants before we do something. Every action has to be contemplated as far as, is this going to serve the Most High? Is this going to serve his house, his kingdom? Is this going to bring glory to his name? You got to ask yourself those questions before you sit down and have a conversation with a person, right? When a person asks you a question, how you respond, like, think about it, right? Think about how it's going to serve him before you get out of character. Right? Because when you stand in front of him, I'm telling you, he's only looking for those who got on the same garments that he got on. He's looking for ones who appear like he is. He's gonna know you by the garments that he dressed you in, that he put you in, right? He's gonna know you by the heart that he gave you, by what he gave you to walk in, whether you did it or not. That's why when you stand before him, you won't have any excuse, because it's gonna be, no, you know what I told you to do, but yet you still decide to do the opposite, right? You're none of mine. This is why it says for the prophets and the pastors who come before him saying, man, I did all these things, what, in your name? But he's going to say, well, I have no relationship with you. Let's stay the course. Let's keep this feast in memorial with the understanding of where we go from here and where the Most High is taking the nation, as far as making us a whole kingdom of priests, and how we need to conduct ourselves as being a kingdom of priests. All right, and let's stay in that mindset as we go through the year, as we go through the course of the year. And I pray the Most High bring these words back to each and every last one of us if we do get off course, because it's important that we maintain the house. It's important that we maintain what's holy, and it's not for us. It's not just for us. Anybody got anything else before we close out? Anything at all? Oh, appreciate y'all being on through this fast these last couple of days. I hope everyone got something out of it. Man, just continue to seek him, getting his word, and y'all willing, I will see everybody tomorrow. And then of course we're gonna convocate on Sunday. We're gonna get into the word some more. So I'll go ahead and I'll pray us out again, and then we'll come from 1 Corinthians 1:10, and we'll bid each other a good night. All right, get this feast going. Abba, we thank you, give you praise, honor, and glory for the word that came forth. And we thank you more so for passing over us. We thank you for covering us with your blood so that you could pass over us in everything everything that allowed us to be redeemed. You did it. It was nothing that we did. You shed your blood for us so that we could be redeemed. You suffered for us. You rose up with all power. You allowed us to seek you, to find you. You called out to us, and then you gave us your comforter so that we will always have your presence with us. We will always have you as a guide. And so let us not take for granted this feast day, this Moed. Let us not take for granted what you have even done in the past when it came to our ancestors, as all of those actions pointed towards what you are doing for us today, even still, which is leading us and guiding us through the wilderness, leading us and guiding us through all these other nations who may seek to destroy us, but giving us the understanding that if we have you, that you will go before us to fight our battles, that you will destroy our enemies. All we have to do is continue to follow your instruction and to minister unto you as you have called us all. And so let us keep this feast was with the mindset that we are a royal priesthood under the Melchizedek order, with our King of Peace being Yahushua Hamashiach. Let us just give him all reverence and worship and praise throughout this whole feast. Let us partake of the unleavened bread, which represents us being done with iniquity and sin, so that we can come out a more perfect offering in the day that the King arrives back. And I just pray right now that you just cover the hearts and minds of everybody who's on this line, those who are attached to this assembly, anybody who's yoked to us. I pray that you would cover their hearts and minds. Let nothing come in that would give us a word of doubt, that would sow a wicked seed, that will bear bad fruit, that would cause us to bring shame to your name, that would cause us to lower your character. Let us do all things to exalt you continuously, to lift up your name and to glorify you, and let us be content with the glorification that you give us even on this level, knowing that we have a hope to receive an even greater glory when we enter into the kingdom, when we receive eternal life. Let us stay on the path of righteousness, continue towards the mark, not letting anything take us off to the left or to the right. Let your word be true. Let us not find any confusion or anything that comes into us. Let us not blame the word for it, but let us seek you, so that you may clarify anything according to your word. You may give us the understanding that we have, so that we can remain on one accord with you. For this is the word that is inspired by your spirit. It is your breath that is in this word. And when you give us revelation, we receive life. And so let us seek it with our whole hearts, all of our mind, all of our soul during this time period, and even further. As you give us life, as you give us breath, let us just desire to please you. And I pray that these words rest on our hearts forever. We give you praise, honor, and glory in the name of Yahushua Hamashiach. Amen. Hallelujah. Yeah. Oh, you got it? You got it really loud.
Loud, because they're here.
Can y'all hear me?
No, just read it.
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you. Hallelujah.
Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of Lord Jesus Christ, that ye all speak the same thing, and that be no divisions among you, divisions among you, but that ye be perfect, joined together in the same mind, in the same judgment.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Shabbat shalom. Enjoy the Passover, and man, let's keep walking this thing out, man. Blessings to the family.
Love y'all.
Blessings. Happy
Love
Passover.
y'all. Hallelujah.
Shalom.
Happy
Shalom.
Passover. Happy
Shabbat
Passover.
shalom.
Hey, stop.
Passover.
Yes.